Chris Cartman, son of a source. Kenny, as you reflect on that game, do you think that was isolated or more symptomatic of things, just given all of the, all the sims and going up against a triple option offense and the weather and stuff?
Yeah, I think it was isolated. I would hope it's isolated. I'll say that. I mean, it's the first time something like that's happened to us in a year and a half. So, before in year one, it would happen to us every week. So I would say that's positive that, we've reset an expectation that should never happen, and that should never happen, right? So I would hope it's an isolated incident. And yeah, I mean, they whipped our butt. I mean, you got to give them a lot of credit. I mean, that happens all across college football to some extent, is a team comes in and they absolutely whipped our butt.
And so, given what you're just saying there, does that change how you talk to the team and what you do moving forward?
No. I mean, I believe in who we are. I mean, we're a 4-2 football team. We're 2-1 in conference. I mean, I'm pretty happy with where we're at this time of the year. I know, external people have their own opinions on where we should be and all that, but I have my own opinions as well, and I'm happy with where we're at. We're in a position to achieve everything we wanted to accomplish. Coming into the year, we just got to be the best version of us. I mean, last year we started conference play 2-2. And we're 2-1. We're playing with house money compared to last year. So I think you got to keep things in perspective. A lot of the times, and the perspective can't be external, has to be internal. What do we have to get better at? Well, we struggled tackling, and we're still struggling in the low red zone. We had 2 drives in our first 3 drives that went 17 plays versus Utah. If you would have told me that, I would have been fired up. Wait, we had 3 drives in the first half that weren't 2-minute, and 2 of them went for 17 plays? We're right where we want to be in a rain game, right? But we obviously weren't, right? So that's the bad part, is the second part. We got our butt kicked.
Hey, Kenny, Blake Neiman, Fox 10 News. Texas Tech undefeated top 10 team coming to town this week. How critical is this game to the broader implications of your season?
It's just another game. Like I said, last year we started 2-2 in conference. So I think if you get focused on this game is this and that game is that, you're focused on the wrong stuff. Every game is the most important game every time you play it. And some days they're going to get you, some days you're going to get them. But I think if you look too much at the big picture and not the singular focus on this is the game at hand. Now I will say this is a phenomenal football team, absolutely phenomenal football team, and it's a great challenge for us to play them. I mean, this is as good of a football team as you're going to play in the country, and I'm excited for the challenge.
How have they leveled up since you guys played them last year?
Yeah, so all of their start, obviously we lost them last year. They were one of our 2 conference losses. Like I said, early in the year, we had those. And, all of their D-line that started last year is now their 2s. Or they're rotating 1s, however you want to put that. But they're the depth of the team. So that tells you how much they've leveled up, is they took a team that won 8 games. And, that's the depth of their roster across the board for a lot of the team up front. They've just gotten better at every almost position. And then even the guys that are returning, they're returning, and they're healthy, so they a better version of themselves from last year. So how they leveled up in every way, shape, and form possible, which is why, 24 points is the closest an opponent has got to them so far this season. That's pretty good.
Doug Franz Unplugged podcast. After the game, you used the phrase outcoached, out-physicaled, outplayed. All of us, fans, media, everybody uses those phrases, but we never talk about what does that actually mean. Like you said, okay, they hit you with a midline. Well, it's one play. I mean, does that really mean what's the difference between, like, if we were watching film, what would it be when you said this is where we were out-coached, or is it just you got hit by a play, or if you're out-physicaled, is it a technique issue? Is it a strength issue? What happens?
So to me in college football, the word out-coached, every time we lose, we get out-coached. Because we don't have a GM, right? So me personally, every loss that we have, I'm responsible for every single person in this organization. So it doesn't matter if we miss a tackle or if there's a bad scheme or if they get us schematically. It's outcoached. Like, that's how I view it, is the extreme ownership of I have brought in every single person into this organization. So if we miss a tackle or if we don't make a play or if we have a bad scheme or something like that, that all falls on me. So maybe out-coached isn't always the perfect term, but at the end of the day, everything always falls on me. So when we have failures or we don't hit an expectation, for a multitude of reasons, it's my fault. That's what I mean by out-coached, is there's nowhere else to, like, who else do I look at? Everybody's here because of me, right? Which means everything falls on me, and it should. Like, every bad thing ever said about this program should fall directly on me, not our players, because I brought them here. That's our job to put them in the best position to succeed. And that 100% is on me. So that's what I mean by when I say that.
Hey, Kenny, Max Spanner, Walter Carter, Sports Center. Hello. Most importantly, you talked about Baron Morton being able to kind of expose your defense a little bit with the short game and that sort of thing. McGuire and his staff are going to be kind of preparing for two quarterbacks, as will you. What have you kind of seen on film already with what Will Hammond is good at from an athletic standpoint, and how different is it going to be from what you saw maybe with Morton last year?
I mean, everything. He's really good. He's a really good young guy. You know, like they said, they have him on a 2-year deal because they, you know, obviously the resources combined with they believe in him. They knew that, you know, this is a guy that's going to be their future, and he 100% is their future there. And he's a phenomenal player. He can make all the throws. You saw him do that at the end of the Utah game. You could see him scramble, make plays with his legs. So he can really do it all. I mean, he's a heck of a player, and he's only getting better.
And then a quick follow-up to that on the other side of the ball, Rodriguez, the amount of guys that they just have had that have been able to spread the field wide, it seems. What have you just seen from this defense on film in comparison to last year that may have silenced you guys in the run game last year in Lubbock, but how they could maybe attack you differently?
Yeah, well, new defense coordinator who does a really good job, obviously came over from Houston. Who was at Houston last year, and they did a really good job on defense at Houston. They're multiple. 4 down, 3 down, bear, pressure, no pressure, cover 1, cover 2, cover 3, cover 4. You know, sometimes you play teams and you kind of know what you're going to get. Definitely not that type of team. Lets his guys play free. And they have, you know, really, really good personnel that play free and play twitchy. And their defense as a whole, they're leading pretty much every statistical category in our league, and almost in, you know, they're top 10 in the nation, if not top 5 in almost every statistical category, because their front 7, it all starts in front 7. It's not a knock on their back end. Their back end's really, really, really good as well. But their front 7 is, you know, the majority draft picks.
Hey, Coach. Kevin Hicks, Arizona State on SI. I was just wondering if you have any health updates for players currently at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, Zyrus is going to be out for the year. He had season-ending surgery, unfortunately. You know, X is, you know, is going to be out for a significant more time. Hopefully, we'll find a way to get him back at the end of the season, but he'll be out for a significant amount of time. Unfortunately, Ben Coleman is going to be out for the year, which is unfortunate. So he'll be out. You know, there's some other guys that I don't want to comment on yet just because it's Monday, so I don't quite have as strong of a grasp on that. And those are the new guys, the guys that, you know, I've kind of been back and forth. So I'll have more of an update here, you know, tonight for me, Tuesday/Wednesday for y'all.
Quick follow-up, is a medical red shirt on the table for Zyrus?
100%, yeah. I mean, he had surgery, so we'll file the waiver and we'll go from there. So 100%, that's a great question. It's a very knowledgeable question.
Jordan Ham, Sports 360 AZ. Just the past couple days, I know you are just probably seeing the guys for the first time here this morning, but anybody stepping up in terms of, you know, trying to just get the mentality on the right path, or is it just kind of a collective group moving forward?
I think what's funny about sports is, like, there's an external image, then there's an internal image. And if you are taking the external image and it's affecting the internal pieces of your program, you've got major problems. So for us, it's the same thing we always do. And I know nobody likes to hear that, but consistency is what builds it. You know, from now till forever, when you're building something, there's going to be highs, there's going to be lows. You're going to fly sky high and win a game like a conference championship by 30, and you're on top of the world. Then you're going to lose a game by, like, what the heck? It's because you're still building it. You're still getting there. You're not you're not there yet, right? And everybody wants it to happen so fast. Yeah, we're 4-2. Feel pretty good about that, right? We have all of our future ahead of us. So I don't think it's as dramatic of a scenario as people kind of want this to be. There's a lot of teams in the country who wish they were sitting in our position right now with the entire season ahead of them and all of their goals achievable. So I just don't think it's as, not quite as dramatic as we wanted to make it, unfortunately, for the media,
Hey, Coach Damon Allred at Arizona Sports. You faced him last year at Texas State, and he was credited with recruiting Cam Ward back at Incarnate Word. How impressed have you been just with Mac Leftwich's first year up in Power 4?
Yeah, he's been phenomenal. He was a guy that, to be honest, he was a guy that we interviewed for the job here because he worked with Sean Paul Brophy, a guy I'm near and dear with, and he absolutely hit it out of the park. I just wanted a guy with head coach experience, but he was an absolute stud. He was a stud at Texas State last year. His dad was a stud in this profession. He grew up in this profession. He's been a stud there at Tech, so he's an absolute superstar. He's a future head coach, 100% for sure. Like I said, he's done a phenomenal job there.
And then quick follow-up. I presume you're locked into the season at hand and week at hand, but as your name pops up in coaching searches elsewhere, do you have conversations internally with the players or anything like that about that?
No, I don't even know. I thought I was talking about being fired. I didn't know I was talking about that. My brain doesn't process that. No.
Coach in the back, Craig Fouye, ABC 15. What's going on with Sam Levitt?
Status quo. We're going to find out more Tuesday, Wednesday. I know people think like there's no gamesmanship here. This is just purely being honest. And sometimes when you're honest, people create fake things because sometimes honesty is just rare. So I think the fact that we're being honest with this situation is making people uncomfortable. The reality is he's day-to-day. We're going to find out when we move him around on Tuesday and Wednesday's practice if he's good enough to play on Saturday. So I'll have more of an update come, mid this week.
I think what's got everybody concerned is he played a week ago, he had a bye, and then he came out, he practiced Tuesday, Wednesday, then he wasn't good for Saturday. That externally looks like what
Yeah,
happened?
I would agree. And then I would say anybody who came to practice, did he move around at those two practices on Tuesday and Wednesday? Did he run? The answer is no. He only threw drop back pass, no scrambles, no nakeds, right? So, yes, did he practice? Yes, but it wasn't full practice, right? And then we made a decision because Jeff got all the reps in the bye week. Sam sat out. Jeff got all the reps. We wanted Sam to get reps on Tuesday and Wednesday, thinking he was going to play. Didn't progress like we thought. So we said, okay, well, Jeff's the guy. Obviously, without a bye week, that decision of Sam's going to have to happen a little bit faster, and we're going to have to mix reps more this week in terms of who's going to, go. We'll have to make a little bit quicker decision. But when you're coming off a bye, we got to get some reps of that during the bye week like Jeff got. And in hindsight, I definitely would have gotten Jeff 100% of the reps there. But, Sam is a competitor. Sam played with broken ribs last year. So, everybody thought he was playing until it was like, man, this thing really didn't get much better. That sucks. Because it got, past TCU, gave him a week off, and then thought it would get better, and it really didn't progress like we thought. So we're still kind of in that same holding pattern, I would say, unfortunately.
Appreciate the update. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Hey, Coach. Ryan Myers, Devils Digest. Looking at the run defense for you guys and against a really good Utah quarterback that also knows how to scramble himself and use his legs, how do you analyze that performance and kind of take where you guys are usually pretty good on run defense and kind of move that into going forward?
Yeah, we couldn't tackle him. It was impressive. It wasn't fun to be on the other side of not being able to tackle somebody, but we couldn't tackle him. He averaged 12 yards carry. That's not ideal. And they do a great job schematically. They did a great job. They put a 350-pounder at tight end and said, we're going to run the ball at you. And they did that. And like I said, going into the game, that game was a culture game, right? And that day, they out-physicaled us. And when somebody does that, there's not many answers you can have when, people move people. That's something I always say. When people move people and don't tackle people, you run out of things.
And a quick follow-up to that then, looking at the way Texas Tech dominated the run against Kansas as well, how do you kind of reanalyze your run defense then going into this week when it's kind of similar signs?
Like I told the guys, we've been one of the best run defenses in the country for a year and a half. That's our culture. If we're going to let one game dictate our culture, right, like, I don't know what we're doing. Like, we got to stay true to what we have proven to do in the last 17 games, or not the 18th one, but the last 17. In the last 17 games, we've usually won the line of scrimmage. On the majority of the game, we've won the line of scrimmage. We can't let one game versus a team that runs a triple option that did a phenomenal job in that triple option affect how we play football. They got us. They beat our butt. Physically, right, all aspects of it, like, you can't let that drag over. We know who we are as a team. So let's go back to that. Let's go play good run defense again like we've done for the 17 prior games. So there are no drastic changes, absolutely not.
Kenny, Cameron Cox, 12 News. Obviously, you guys are a little beat up with injuries. I guess, is it just as simple as next man up, or how do you kind of reset given kind of what you guys are dealing with?
Yeah, next man up. And, it really, when you get, injured, it really affects special teams, So that's where it shows up probably the most is because you get really into your depth on specials. But, yeah, it's the next man up mentality. Like, who's up, you got to go, and you got to be able to make plays. And I think I thought Jeff did a good job of that last week when you watched the tape with him. Not many MAs. Like, the ball went to where it was supposed to go for the majority of the reps. But I think across the board, for us as a football team, the next man up has to step up, and they have to play well because the reality is nobody cares. It's not a world where people care, right? The reality is you're playing football at Arizona State now. There's expectations at Arizona State that used to not be here. That is great. Like, I would much rather people be pissed off at being 4-2 than people be singing and parading around the city. Like, this is a great expectation that we're creating. With that becomes handling expectations, because it's nearly impossible to consistently reach expectations. It's not like it's very, very difficult to every year hit the expectation set because they should be set so high if you set it correctly. So for us is how do you handle it when you don't hit the expectations? And I think regardless of who's playing, nobody cares. The goal is to go play our best football. It doesn't matter what the expectations are. How do we play our best football? We didn't do that last week. We got to go do that this week.
Yeah, Kenny, just to dial in a little bit more on that last question. So with the two O-line injuries, I know Jalen Clem played some, and Champ Westbrook's coming along and others. So, like, what do you do there, especially with Wade Helton getting his first start at center and then against Texas Tech's, like, phenomenal defensive line?
Yeah. You just got to go out there, and it's a good challenge. I mean, to be honest, like, you got to protect your edges. Like I said, they have, 5 to 6 defensive linemen, according to people that are going to get drafted, which is impressive. Like, that's a positive for them. It's a lot of guys going to get drafted from a front. Linebackers are top notch. They're just good across the board, but specifically that defensive line, they're really talented, and we got to be able to protect our O-line so they're not just isolated. Like, the game of football is not just one-on-ones on the perimeter. It's also the one-on-ones in the box, and we've got to be able to shield our guys to create the best matchups there as well.
How do you feel about where Wade, Jametto, Jalen Clem, others are at and their ability to do that?
Yeah, like I said, I think they're getting better every single week. I think Wade moving to center was because he produced. I think Clem getting on the field 2 weeks ago was because he's shown to produce, and he played pretty decent in the game. I was happy with how he played when he went in. Like I said, we moved the ball. We just, once again, the goal is to score, not move the ball. We just aren't scoring, which is unfortunate when you move the ball and don't score. That sucks. You have 8 possessions, and I think all of them but 2 were over 7-play drives or something like that, versus a good team, and you don't score points. It's like, golly, we got to stay out of our own way, and we got to hit some explosives. One thing, we hit 0 explosives in the football game. You can't win a game versus a good team hitting 0 explosives.
What about the O-line injuries that you had? Maybe some of them maybe were questionable, but that's hurt you on drives.
Yeah, obviously, you got a new guy in the first play, you get a holding call. Now should be 2nd and 5, and it's 1st and 20. Versus a good team in the red zone, that's not ideal. But at the same token, like I said, all of it, everything that happens on that field was somehow associated and affected by me. So myself, our staff has to find a way to, how do we put our guys in the best position to be successful in the current state that we're in and rock and roll. And I've got a lot of confidence in our guys. I got a lot of confidence in our football team, regardless of who's hurt, who's out. Like, I think we have a good roster. I think we have a good young roster. I think some young guys are going to have to step up like they are. And you got to grow up fast versus one of the, my opinion, top 5 team, a team that can win a national championship this year. We're going to have to grow up fast, play in a great home environment. I think that was our first conference loss in 8 losses or something. I think we were breaking the record. We had the most. So we got to get back on that track. We have a good home streak. We'll see what happens and go play good football.
Kind of feeding off of that, with this being a day game, first home day game of the year and coming off a loss, what's kind of the message to the fan base this week?
Yeah, we got to have an advantage. This is a really good football team. This is a top 5, or well, I don't know what they're ranked, but they're a top 5 team in the country. We just played Utah, and they beat Utah. And I think Utah's one of the top teams in the country, so they're definitely a top team in the country. So we need to be loud. We need to be fiery. This is an absolute game-changing, environment that we can create. The last time we had a home game, the opposing team said we created an advantage. We need to create that same advantage this week. And I think that's the challenge every home game, is this is a place where people show up and it's loud, it's fun, it's exciting, and it's sold out. I'm pretty sure most of our games the rest of the way are close to being sold out from that perspective, which is awesome. Now we got to go play good football and close this thing strong.
Hi, Coach. Luke Lumler, Sun Devil Source. When injury bugs hit teams like this, the common phrase is next man up. I mean, you just said it. So what can the player-led culture that you've talked about so much, what can they do to kind of realize that and not have next man up just be coach speak, player speak, and actually see that through?
Well, just because, next man up, that doesn't mean you're going to get the equal production, right? Next man up is not like players are players. They're people. Some have better skill sets than others at certain things. So the term next man up is just the term of, that's the new guy. Let's rock and roll. In terms of like how they go about their business preparing, that's where the leaders can really step up. Like, hey, we need you to come up on this day. We need you to come over to our house because we're going to watch pressures on Wednesday or whatever, right? I think that the preparation piece is where the vets can really help the young guys. And now that you're a starter, hopefully they were already preparing like that as a 2. But now that you're the guy, what are the next steps to that in terms of growth and being able to perform at your best? I think that's where the leaders can really step up, not from a physical play perspective. Our guys want to win. I can promise you that.
And what does it say about the culture that you've built that you have this level of confidence in how players can kind of call guys into film rooms and meetings and make sure they are prepared for the game on Saturday?
Yeah, like I said, I think we're in a really good spot as a football program. We're not as a good spot as a football team on Saturday night, right? But we're in a good spot as a football program. And it's my job to keep the program going in the right direction, right? Not the game. Obviously, we want to win every game, but you can't let one game affect your program, right? If you look, Utah lost by 28 points earlier this year, right? And then they come down and beat us by 30-something, right? If you get so lost in that over and over again, what happens if we lose by 14? Is there a panic? I don't know. Now there's a whole different narrative. We're 2 plays away, 3 plays away, right? That's the nature of football. So you can't get lost. It's definitely a reality check because of the physicality, not the score. The way in which we lost, we have to respond to that. That's the fix, is we got to get back to being that physical football team that tries to win the line of scrimmage. And we did not do that, and we didn't even come close.
Kenny, bouncing off Ryan's question about the running game, watching a lot of the discussion, not just this week, but the past few weeks about Cameron Dickey, shorter than average, bulldozer, finds easy gaps, not necessarily the average size running back. I'm assuming you probably heard these adjectives before. What necessarily have you seen on film about Dickey maybe reminds you of players maybe you've possibly had in the past, and what challenges does he at least present himself individually?
Yeah, physical runner, will run you over, will run through you. Great contact balance. So I think when you have the ability to run through you and have great contact balance, if you try to take him on not square or you don't try to tackle him, he's going to bounce off you, right? So you have to be able to tackle him, but he's going to run through you sometimes and he's going to make you miss others. So I think the balance of his physicality His pad level, and then his ability to have great contact balance is what makes really, really good running backs, and that's what he is he has those three things.
But does he remind you of Scat in any way, physically, or just watching him on film, or nothing?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously some similarities from that perspective. They're both similar type players, 100%. They're similar type players.
Coach Michael Caracino, Pitchfork Lunch. I know you said after the game, obviously, how fast can you watch a game, but with the leader, obviously the returners you have back and the leaders you have back, how does that help in obviously making the young guys bounce back quick, and just what kind of advantage do you feel, and what do you look for at practice coming off, obviously, a game like this, but from your leaders and just bouncing back?
Just going to have a good practice, like the focus and energy. Like we don't need to change anything. I mean, we've got a proven way to be successful, right? One game does not change that one way or another. So I think it's just how do we get back to doing what we know is necessary and how to win games. The preparation, going back to square one and doing the same thing, and how you prepare. Like I said, I wish there's a magic potion that there's not. It's the process. We got to go back to the process, and we got to thud a little bit more in practice. When you're dinged up, you can't really thud as much in practice, but we probably need to thud more even though we're dinged up. It's that fine balance of, do you practice and tackle and get somebody hurt when you're dinged up? Or do you not practice tackling and then not tackle well? Oh, man, that's a tough battle. So I would say from my perspective where I can be better, because that's always what I look at. When you fail, it's not, oh, you failed, it's why you failed. And I always look internally. Maybe I, as the head coach, need to have our guys thud more, tackle more, regardless of the injury, kind of than the depth scenario. We still have to tackle at times more than we're doing now. So it's more thud, more tackle is a way that I think I can improve our football team.
And that actually kind of led to my follow-up. I was going to say, what's the toughest part about that fine line in between? Because, I mean, all teams, obviously, like you said, throughout the country are dealing with it this time of year anyway, but what's that fine line for you as a coach to look at that?
Yeah, you don't know unless you win or lose, unless it works. You'll figure it out team by team. I don't think there's a magic formula to it when you kind of get some guys dinged up. I think, and then it's okay, the guys that are dinged up that need to play, well, they can't tackle either, but they can't hit in practice, right? So it's like that fine balance. But I definitely think, I don't know if there's a perfect answer to your question. I think it's more, we got to do more of it. You learn as you go. I know after last week, we definitely need to thud more than we did this last week. I know that. But I think it's just going to be a week-by-week thing. And the one thing I know is our guys like football. They're physical. We stopped the run in 17 straight games. So I feel pretty good that we're going to respond and be a physical football team. Now we play one of the best teams in the country. So that's a great challenge.
Hey, Coach. George Lenz, Devil's Digest. Kyson Brown was notably absent from Saturday's game despite being left off the injury report. I was curious about his status or kind of role going forward.
Yeah, he probably should have been on the injury report. We thought he was playing the entire way. He kind of tweaked it. Obviously, the rain and having an ankle, that was something that he practiced all week, so he was fine, but there it was man, that's not the best move for him. I don't really have much to say with that, but because he was cleared, practicing, ready to roll. So, yeah, maybe he should. I don't know exactly what he should have been listed on because he was available in the game, though. He could have played in the game. We just didn't play him in the game just because of where he was at, but he definitely was available. So maybe he shouldn't have been listed. I don't know. It's an availability report, so he was available. So I don't know where that guy counts, right? From that perspective, but he definitely was available. He moving forward, we're going to address if he's going to be available moving forward.
Coach, two-parter here. Part one, have you ever had a chance to cross paths with Coach McGuire before you met last year in Lubbock? And part two, how much respect do you have for a guy that took over a program that was kind of in limbo when he took over, and he's taking them to new heights, kind of like what you've done here in Tempe?
Yeah, I mean, he's had a lot of success winning football games at all levels. I have a lot of respect for him. He's a really good person. His wife's a really, really nice lady. I've met her a few times at some of these head coaching events, so I've got a lot of respect for him. I mean, where this program is now, this program as a whole is all in. And, he's all in. He's done a phenomenal job. building a roster and building a football team. But they're definitely a program that's all in. They're definitely all in to win now. They're definitely all in to win in the future with the types of investments they're making. Yeah, I got nothing but respect for him. I think he does a phenomenal job. He's a really good person.
Yeah, Coach. Obviously, Jeff had to play in some really awkward circumstances, not only because starting late and also the weather. Put up a pretty good performance from what you claimed on Saturday. What do you make of not only how he played, but the passing game as a whole, really having to deal with all the weather issues going on?
Yeah, I mean, rain is rain. I mean, not ideal for a passing team or for a team, with, some of your best player being a wide receiver. That's not an ideal scenario, right, from that perspective, but still plays that could have been made out there. We've got to improve that. I thought Jeff threw the ball where it should go. A few times, the ball was probably overthrown or something like that, a couple times. But for the most part, I thought he played really, really well. He didn't take early down sacks when we were in real offense. When you get down 28 and you're at the end of the third quarter or whatever that is, you're not in real offense anymore. So to his defense, he really only played 6 real drives. And most of those drives were extended drives that he made the play when it was necessary. So even through all the negative, there are some positives there. And but I was really pleased with how he played, and I got a lot of confidence in Jeff.
Mine is a Jeff question too, but I was following up with Chris when he said next man up, and you said, hey, everybody's got strengths. You might have just answered it, but what are the strengths of Jeff Sims that you see? And then do you mind from I know you won't say strategically, but talk about your conversations with him post-game or Sunday, or I don't know if you talked to him today. Like, he's a backup quarterback, so limited reps. You got to have an expectation at that level, yet he's not a redshirt freshman either. What were the conversations like?
Yeah, I mean, my conversation was I was proud of how you came in and played. Like, he was definitely not the reason for the result. I can say that with a lot of confidence. No, we didn't, 17 opportunities, in one-on-one balls, and just the rate of winning wasn't high enough, whether it's for a variety of things. So for us, we got to be able to be better in those scenarios. But conversations with him is, listen, you threw the ball where it was supposed to go. You were on time. For the first 3 quarters, you didn't take early down sacks. You managed the game. You got us out of negative plays into positive plays. We did a lot of positive. I mean, we're 2 fade balls in the red zone in the first 2 drive or away from the first 2 of the first 3 drives in the first half being touchdowns. Like, you're that close. So we're literally 2 man throws away in the low red zone from 3 drives, 14 points. It's 14-14. They're getting the ball with 3 minutes left. So you can get, like I said, football is such a unique game because scores, but relative competition can be kind of skewed. And they whooped our butt in all phases, but we were that close. 1 or 2 plays could have completely changed the narrative that people have on him in the game. But I was very, very pleased. In my conversations is I got a lot of faith in you. You've won a lot of football games. Let's roll.
Kenny, you talked about Texas Tech being all in, and they've especially been all in from an NIL standpoint. What does all in look like at ASU, and how close are you to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think all in is constantly changing. I think all in is saying wherever the top end is, we're gonna get there. I think so. Whatever it takes, I guess, is all in, and that number's changing, and that's what all in is constantly changing. It's like the person in seat 1 goes all in, and the other person's like, I like my hand too. I'm all in. Another $100 in there. Third person's like, you know what? I like my hand too. $400 in there. Like, I'm all in. All in's changing. So I think in college football right now, all in is constantly changing. So where are we from that? It's a moving target. And you got to be willing to adapt and move and do what's necessary to hit all in. And them as a program, they're definitely all in, from their facilities to Coach McGuire, his staff, the team they've put together. They've done a phenomenal job, and their program's all in. And you can see the results. And like I said, I'm excited. This should be a fun game, fun environment, and I'm ready to rock. Thank you.